On today's show, you and our panel of comedians are going to learn all about chemistry and the science of ice cream. We will also find out what our expert is like when she is not developing deliciousness in a lab or testing the very boundaries of what dessert can tolerate. And this is an interactive show, so we want you to be involved. We've got audience microphone right here, and if you are watching on the live stream, type your questions and comments in the chat. There's a producer in there who's going to feed me your answers, so I will be getting them to the scientists and to the comedians. We will be getting to your questions as many times as we can. And if you're here, we have so many surprises and treats for you, and we also want to hear all of your feedback. So many, many opportunities to be involved. Okay, let's get into it. Today, we have an incredible panel of comedians who are going to be playing. We've got Aparna Nancherla, Alyssa Limperis, and Lily Dew. Give them a big round of applause. Hello. Hello. Thank you so much. Okay. Typically, we do not hug.
No, it's good to hug.
It's good to hug. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have all of you here. Thanks for being on the show.
No, I can't.
We're going to have so much fun. We're going to learn about ice cream. We're going to do so much of that. But first, rather than me introducing the expert and telling you all about her, let's have her tell you about herself. Here's a video.
For me, it's an art. It's sort of molding a craft and being able to imagine the craft and then to be able to almost like spit it out so it's in a pint is a really fun journey. I look at the work I do as a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. There is a true science behind ice cream. It is one of the most difficult foods known to mankind. It is a solid, a liquid, and a gas all in one. And it's one of the only foods that we have to eat in its state in which it's made. Like, there is no warming up, there is no cooling down. Like, we've got to eat it like this. And if you don't, and if you let it melt, you can never create it again the way that in which you previously had it. Hi, I'm Dr. Maya Warren, the ice cream scientist, and I travel the world exploring, tasting, and dissecting everything and anything about ice cream.
Maya, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here. I can't wait to talk all about ice cream because if anyone knows me, I love ice cream.
Okay, well, we are going to ask you many questions about ice cream. And panelists, this is actually your first chance to ask Maya whatever you want. We're going to talk to her a lot over the course of the show, but in our first segment, you can ask your first burning question about ice cream. We call this, You Do What? So, Aparna, what is the first question you want to ask an ice cream scientist?
Okay, a lot of pressure. I actually, my friend told me, I have a friend who just tells me information like it's true, and it's very possible that it's
yes.
actually not a man, which is
Shocking.
Which is refreshing.
Women can be blowhards too.
Yeah.
That's feminism.
It's equality. True equality is women spreading disinformation. But she told me that apparently cold foods like taste less sweet. Like when they're melted, they taste sweeter, and like ice cream, you can't tell how sweet it actually is when it's cold, and once it's melted, it tastes much sweeter. Is that true?
Well, I will say that your female friend was not giving you the wrong information. It's actually true. It actually is true.
Actually, women never lie.
never
Women
lie.
only
Never
tell
lie.
the truth.
Yes. Always get your information from women, everybody.
Yes. And Chris.
I would still stick with women.
But we have tens of thousands of taste receptors on our tongue. And when you eat something cold and it's too cold, you almost, in a way, freeze them. So they can't quite really taste the sweetness or the sourness or the salt. You know, if there's, sour salt, of course, in ice cream coming in with your taste receptors, taste buds. And so when you warm it up, some people like to keep their ice cream on the counter. Anyone like to keep their ice cream on the counter before you scoop it? Maybe put it in the microwave before you scoop it. People do that. Don't be shy. It's okay.
One very proud person does that in the audience.
And they do that maybe because they want to scoop it easier, but also unknowingly they like that sweetness that pops through a little bit more.
Okay, Lily, what do you want to know?
I want to know your thoughts on, I think it's like when they use liquid nitrogen to like immediately, there are some places that like...
Oh, someone is using liquid nitrogen to cause a seizure in me right now.
I asked for that. I said,
Okay.
make my question more
literally-
dramatic.
Oh, that's very dramatic.
Okay.
That was someone. That literally maybe someone is attacking the theater based on liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
The timing of that one.
Okay, this was like someone who's like representing big salty snacks doesn't
I
want the ice
know.
cream to go.
One of the ghosts they
Yeah.
suggested at the beginning.
Could be, yeah.
Someone from
Yeah.
Haagen-Dazs is
Okay.
here. Yeah, when like some people do like immediate instant ice cream by using the liquid nitrogen. Do you feel like that's as good? It tastes as good? Like, how do you feel about it? Is that ice cream to you still? Just pros, cons?
It actually is a wonderful question. And to be honest, it's not always ice cream. By legal definition, ice cream has to have 10% or more milk fat. So when you make a product that maybe says frozen dairy dessert, or when you see a product, that is not actually real ice cream. And the FDA, USDA will come after you if you label it wrong because we don't like misinformation.
Oh, can it be like the way they say sometimes wine product? Could they
Yes,
just say
that's
ice cream product?
Oh.
Well, we usually don't say ice cream product on a label, but we'll like make it a little bit more fancy, like low fat ice cream, or you have to have
Oh.
some kind of descriptor before it. But
Okay.
going back to liquid
Imposter
nitrogen,
ice cream.
But like 10% milk fat, like whole milk is not 10% milk fat,
no,
right?
it's only about 3.8.
Okay, so you're like it's more whole than 2 whole milks.
You got a lot of cream in that one.
Okay. Oh,
But that's what makes it so delicious.
Now I
ice
understand.
Cream,
I thought the whole was already the whole, but I get it.
But
No, I
going
get it.
back to the question on liquid nitrogen. So you've heard of Dippin' Dots, ice cream of the future. Then we've been in the future forever because they've been around for I don't know how long now. But Dippin' Dots are made with liquid nitrogen, but they don't necessarily have to be. And I don't know if they are or not. So any Dippin' Dot lovers out there, don't know if they are or not. Made with actual real ice cream mix, but they don't have to be because you freeze it instantaneously, and that's how that little ball forms because they go into the liquid mix goes into liquid nitrogen and it creates that sphere right away. But if you go to like Creamistry or Smitten Ice Cream up in San Francisco area and you see liquid nitrogen being made with ice cream being made in liquid nitrogen, basically you're freezing it very, very, very fast. Look, to each their own. It's really not the way that I want to go with my ice cream, but like if I'm out with friends and they're like, let's go, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But it's not really the ice cream that I love to
But
eat.
Dippin' Dots is still real. It's still good. It's still.
Let me talk to her.
So
No.
What?
It's okay if you like it.
I have so much
might be
stock in
10%.
Dippin' Dots.
There was also a moment, I don't know if anyone else remembers this, or if maybe this was just a fever dream I had, but there was a moment during the early days of the pandemic where they were like, we can't get the vaccines in like the cold storage enough. And someone was like, it's
Yes.
possible that Dippin' Dots will save everyone's lives. Like, there's a Dippin' Dots within striking distance of every arm that needs to be injected in this country, and
Yes.
they have the technology.
because the spherical balls of Dippin' Dots are so tiny, they melt very easily. So they are frozen in storage containers, colder than your actual freezer that you'll find at the grocery store or your home freezer or things like that. So that's why they came and saved the day.
I do feel like now, in retrospect, it's like if you wanted to get people to like really trust vaccines, being like, it's possible that Dippin' Dots is the solution, was not. Like that was a
If
moment
we
for
had
some
said
people
that it
at
was
least.
made by the Dippin' Dots company instead of Pfizer, I think
Oh,
we would
yeah.
have gotten
People would be
on
taking
We
it.
would be at 100% vaccination rate in a week.
I would be there right now.
I'd get every booster.
Okay, Alyssa, your turn. What do you want to
Well,
ask? What's your first question?
If you can believe it, my question was about what Dippin' Dots did to the ice cream community. Now, I guess I have to pivot from that, and my question would be for you: do you find that like your friends are like, we don't want to go out to ice cream with her because you're critical? Like, do you feel it's impacted your social life, your dessert social life?
It has had an impact on my social life, but I would say very positive. Like
Okay.
whenever I meet people and or my friends that I'm maybe new friends of theirs that I'm meeting, they're like, oh yeah, that's my friend that's an ice cream scientist. They're like, what? Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow. Tell me more. Tell me what the best ice cream is to eat. And I'm like, look, there is no best ice cream for you to eat. It's all about what you desire because it's a very individualized eating experience. I can't tell you what your taste buds desire or what texture you desire when you eat your ice
Dippin'
cream.
Dots. The dots.
However, it is, I think it's a positive impact because it's always one of those like, wow, it's a conversation starter for
Yes.
sure. But when I go and eat ice cream with friends, I try not to think out loud about the scientific impact that I'm experiencing, because sometimes it's soggy or grainy or like, well, they shouldn't have made this, melts too fast.
Right.
But hey, I'll still try to enjoy it because they're enjoying it. Yes.
Okay.
I will say, doesn't ice cream sound like what you wanted your job to be as a kid?
Oh,
As a
absolutely.
kid, I wanted to be a firefighter, but after that, ice
yeah,
cream
like if you heard
scientist.
someone say, "I'm an ice cream scientist," you would be like, "Being an adult is gonna rule."
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, we were already talking about some of the innovations in ice cream, and from talking to you, I have learned that there is a rich history of ice cream across the globe and across hundreds of years. It started with snow and something sweet, maybe like honey or fruit. And now we've gotten to a place where anything can be made into ice cream. People have Ninja creamy machines at home, and they are going wild. This is the thumbnail from a real YouTube video that's very popular. And interestingly, that man is so happy, but he also looks so much like someone who would not be able to handle spice. So, don't
He
judge
does
a
look
book.
in pain. Look at his eyes.
I
Yeah.
know.
He's got a smile, but the eyes are in pain.
Anything for the content.
And why is he holding the machine like it's his wife?
And this is my wife, Creamy.
Creamy.
Have you met Creamy? Well, I will say, new frontiers in ice cream technology have sometimes led to incredible, delicious new flavors. But they also have led to terrible, atrocious travesties. For example, this ice cream flavor, the fish and chips gelato. Australia's first fish and chips flavored gelato. And you lived in Australia for 2 years. Have anything to say about their fish and chips flavored gelato?
Never had it, but if I saw it, I would try it because I believe in trying every single ice cream possible. And believe you me, that would not have been good. I can already tell you.
Oh,
that.
yes, certainly.
It would not have been good.
That's
It
one where
looks
I
like-
could believe. I believe you.
The crisp looks like just the crispiness of the fish. It looks
Yeah, the crisp.
kind of good.
The
crisp.
crispiness
Well, it looks
reminds
like
me of like
like
fried ice
Butterfinger.
cream
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah, but fish? I
Yeah.
mean,
The fish inside,
I
it
don't
can't.
know.
That's the bad part for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
be
yeah,
clear.
yeah.
Also, another one, chicken wing flavored ice cream,
Thank you.
limited edition, hopefully very limited. Also, this one, the Kraft macaroni and cheese flavored ice cream
good.
from
I've
Van
had
Leeuwen.
I've had
Yeah,
no wrong.
it's like dairy plus dairy.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
No, that's
a
like
little umami coming through. I've had it. It's actually
I've had it.
interesting.
I had it and it was a horrific abomination. But you liked it. You tried it and you liked
No,
it.
I honestly just really ride for Van Leeuwen, so
Yeah.
I wanted to support them. I don't think I would like that.
It tastes exactly like the powder from the pack, which
And
you
I
might
love
have a
the powder
taste
from the
for.
pack.
but just a little sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just never had Kraft macaroni and cheese and said, you know what this needs? Sugar. Okay. Well, Maya, part of your job is helping clients to bring wild new ice cream flavors to life. That's true. Like that's a lot of what you do in addition to the research.
Pretty much what I do. So I'm an ice cream consultant. I'm an ice cream scientist. I consult in the industry, and I help companies troubleshoot existing flavors. So if they're like, oh, this flavor isn't working the way we want it to, or this ice cream mix, or I don't just want to talk about ice cream. It's all of its close cousins. So gelato, sorbet, frozen yogurt, frozen custard, etc. It's the whole gamut. And so I help companies be able to troubleshoot existing products if they have issues with those products, as well as create new flavors, as well as help a company that has a bright idea of creating an ice cream company from start to finish. So I can do everything from creating the idea of a product all the way to seeing that pint or that novelty on the grocery store shelf or in the scoop shop.
We have a couple of questions already from the live stream audience, and if anyone in the live audience wants to ask a question, you can always just line up over here and I'll get to you. One question is, your jacket is so cool. I want to know what all the patches on there are. And you're putting the patches on yourself.
Well, I did not sew them. I
Oh, no.
cannot sew, but I
Okay.
did get them sewn on.
Okay, yes. You orchestrated the
Yes,
patches
I
to be sold.
orchestrated it. I purchased the jacket and the patches and got them sewn on.
Okay, and then an ice cream question is, someone saying, I would love to know what innovations in vegan ice cream have made it taste more like dairy ice cream.
Ooh, very good question. I love this question actually because the innovations in dairy and non-dairy ice cream all have to do with the fat source that's being used. So over time, you would have seen maybe safflower oil used or sunflower oil used in ice cream, non-dairy ice cream products, but that wasn't necessarily the right fat to use because that fat does not freeze under frozen conditions of freezing ice cream. However, coconut fat does. So if you're ever going to get non-dairy, ooh, I like the ahs. If you're ever going to get the non-dairy go the coconut fat route. It doesn't mean it'll taste like coconut because now we have deodorized coconut oil. And that's basically, it doesn't taste...
Yummy.
Yummy.
Deodorized coconut.
Some of that.
None of that disgusting coconut musk.
We remove all the actual flavor components that are in coconut oil. You remove it so it still functions, and so it does something under...
Okay, well, hold on. Put those back. I like those.
Well, you can still have that, but some people
I feel
don't
bad
want
for
the whole
coconut.
coconut.
That's wow.
Some people don't want the whole coconut taste in their product. So, but the beauty of it is, on a scientific level, it mimics milk fat very similarly. When you actually freeze it, there's this phenomenon in ice cream called partial coalescence that milk fat can do during the freezing process, and so can coconut fat. Not all fats can do it, so not all fats are made equal, and so that's why coconut fat is actually a really good one to go to when you're doing the non-dairy versions.
Wait, can I just piggyback because I'm
Absolutely.
vegan? And what about nuts? I feel like cashew. Like, what are your thoughts? Because I feel like cashew was a big thing for a while, and I feel it's being phased out. What do you feel about the cashew?
Yeah, cashew's a bit expensive, so that's so that's kind of why it's kind of being phased out. Also, the non-dairy sector was really, really, really big at one point, and then companies started pulling back because nothing against people that have to. Yes, nothing against. Nothing against.
Specifically, you caused it to pull back.
Yes, you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you're a non-dairy person having to eat a non-dairy ice cream, you don't need necessarily 15 different flavors to choose from in one company. So companies started to scale back a little bit.
I wouldn't mind it.
I know, but the market's just not as big.
You guys, you get it?
The
Yeah.
market's just not as big. But even in the cashew, you still need some type of fat that can behave similar to milk fat to be able to make that product creamy, because the partial coalescence is the creamy sensation that we love in ice cream. It's
I definitely see why they branded it as creamy and not partial coalescence.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great word, but...
Oh, I love the
yeah.
phrase, but if you're like, you know what you're going to eat tonight, it's going to
Partial
partially coalesce
coalescence.
in your mouth, I'd be like, I'll pass on that food for sure. You'll either fully coalesce or nothing. Well, as we're talking about innovations, you consult with all these different companies. I feel like we have to talk about, you were saying people are very interested in your job. One of the aspects of your job that people are very interested in is the person who you are working with right now to create new ice cream flavors.
Yes, I currently work with Snoop Dogg. He has an ice cream company. I know.
Truly?
He's wonderful.
Dr. Bombay.
Dr.
Dr.
Bombay.
The man does not rest. Snoop Dogg
At
never
all.
sleeps. Let's look at some of the Dr. Bombay flavor list here. Right here. We have some flavors in the Dr. Bombay list.
So this is sherbet, tropical sherbet swizzle. So this is just a sherbet. So Dr. Bombay is bringing sherbet back to the spotlight. Sherbet kind of got shunned away a bit. Yes, bringing sherbet back. Sherbet's
True.
amazing.
I've never liked a sherbet.
Oh,
Really?
I will. It'll rock your world. I'll change
Okay,
you.
I gotta
I
go to the
agree.
doctor.
Wait, how
good.
is a sherbet different from a sorbet?
Ooh,
is
very
it the
good
milk?
question.
Is it the milk?
Very good
Okay.
question. Yeah, sherbet by legal definition has to have can have up to about 2% milk fat. Sorbet, on the other hand, does not have dairy and or egg or any kind of animal products inside.
Sorbet is just by definition vegan.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
You could put a coconut oil in sorbet to make it more creamy, but you don't have to. But sorbet is typically like a
You haven't tried
sugar
my
slurry.
beef sorbet. Beefy.
Tasty.
Okay, wait. I have a quick question for the
Please.
group. Did you guys ever, growing up, this is when I knew we were having a fancy, fun party. Did you guys ever, my mom had this big punch bowl, and she would put in it like Fresca
Yes.
and something else, and then sherbet.
Yeah, rainbow sherbet.
And that's my biggest memory is that tub of sherbet. So I'm hoping that with Dr. Bombay, we also go to parties and you go, there's that sorbet
there's that big-
sherbet juice.
My parents are Chinese, so if it was a fancy party, there was a whole fish, head intact. So kind of different.
Pop that in an ice cream.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Sherbet.
Fish and chips ice cream.
Sherbet is ice cream.
Okay, there are also many other flavors for Dr. Bombay.
Oh my God.
You see, baked blueberry muffin. This isn't sponsored by Dr. Bombay. I just
Not
thought this
at
was kind of
all.
fun.
Peanut butter jelly time.
That one literally tastes like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so what you'll see up here is not every flavor is just sherbet. Now we have moved into sherbet and ice cream as a swirl. So peanut butter and jelly time is peanut butter ice cream, grape sherbet mixed with swirled with grape swirl, I guess you could call it, and peanut butter flakes. It tastes like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but in ice cream form. It's very good.
It's also amazing to me that like at one point Snoop Dogg was like representative in the public consciousness of like a threat to children and American values, and now he's selling faux shizzle almond fudge.
Why is it Dr. Bombay and not just Snoop Dogg?
Are you
Snoop Dogg's
doctor?
ice cream.
Are you Dr. Bombay?
I'm doctor,
Oh,
but
you're
I'm not Dr. Bombay.
Okay, so he's Bombay.
No, Bombay
yeah.
is his NFT, so Dr. Bombay
Oh
is Snoop's
my
NFT.
goodness.
The man, honestly, so much of the American economy is just
no.
different parts of Snoop Dogg's businesses.
Yes.
Like almost, I think there is no field that you can enter where you're not competing with Snoop Dogg in some
Sure.
way.
I also really love the what is that cheetah print lid? Like
Yeah.
it's giving me sort of like divorcee
Yeah.
pivoting to a second act.
I thought it was just the one, and they
No,
would all
it's
have
all.
different tops, but they
Right.
all have
They
this
all
top,
have the
regardless of the flavor, leopard print.
I love it. I love
And
it.
Yeah.
you know why? It's all about standing out in the freezer. So you go to the ice cream aisle. You go to the ice cream aisle in a grocery store, and it's full of different kinds of ice cream. And you're like, what do I want? Ooh, that caught my eye.
You say,
So
I'm
there's a
Yeah,
marketing
smart.
behind
I'm
it.
here at the grocery store. I'm fresh out of a 30-year-old marriage, and I'm looking to start fresh. Well, there we go. That's the ice cream for me.
That's
Wow.
a cougar.
It matches the robe I'm wearing
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Chris, we have the same
Wow.
mind.
Well, I was literally just repeating your joke, so it wasn't the same mind. It was your mind plus my volume. Well, panelists, I do think if there's one thing that we always say on the show is that if it is good enough for Snoop Dogg, it's good enough for us. So
You
I-
always say that?
Always.
every time I've said that,
Nonstop.
and very
Nonstop.
few times has it ever made sense before. But I would like for each of you to pitch an ice cream flavor that you would be curious to try, and then we will hear from Maya how she would approach that challenge. If she can make Snoop Dogg's dreams come
Okay.
true, why not yours? Okay, Alyssa, let's start with you.
Okay,
What's a dream you would like to
I'll
have?
tell
This
you
is
what.
innovations in ice cream.
Now I don't know if this probably exists, but I'm Greek. Woo! Hold for applause.
Only one woo from Maya.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not Greek, but I support all people.
That's right. Maya.
yeah.
Yeah, that could
There you
work.
go. Maya,
Okay,
Maya.
Maya, yeah. Okay, so growing up, we'd go to Greek festivals every summer, highlight of the summer, and there was baklava. Have you guys all had baklava? After like scooping it out of the tray, there would be basically innards left over. And there would just be all these innards. And then you could get a baklava sundae. So they'd have a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and then they'd just scoop up all the innards and put it on top of it. I still dream of it. Do you think if you were to make that, for example, you would follow a similar process? Or not so much? Yes.
I feel like you've been following my life because I've actually made baklava.
Wow.
Opa, that's good.
Beautiful.
That's good.
I have, and
Wow.
it's actually made with the innards in mind. And
Certainly, there's some marketing that will have to be done around that word. Innards will have to maybe get finessed into a different word.
Yes.
there's in that baklava recipe that I created, you'll have pistachio paste coming in.
Okay, nice.
You'll have this baklava company that wanted it really wanted cashew to be in there too, so we put
Interesting.
cashew in there. And then you had like the sweetness coming in with the glaze, a little bit of lemon at the end to round it, and a bit of salt to make it pop. It's actually a very, very good flavor. We also put in a little bit of cinnamon.
Yeah, cinnamon.
Yes,
Yeah.
we put in cinnamon at the end as well, and it's a beautiful texture. It's very decadent because the cashew and pistachio, they bring in fat as well, and so it makes it that much more creamy. It's a very, very, very good product.
Wow, that's really I will have to try. I'll have to break my veganism to give that a little try.
It is
Wow.
not vegan, sorry.
No, that's okay. Wow, you've done big things for the Greek community. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome at Greek Easter any year. Yes. Okay.
Lily, what would you like to pitch? It doesn't have to be tied to your heritage, but I guess now it's allowed.
Well,
Whole fish
as
ice
a
cream.
proud Italiano. So, this is really embarrassing for me to say, but
Speak on it.
until last year, I had never had an affogato.
Oh, I thought you were about to
Which-
say ice cream.
Can you imagine? I did hold out on gelato for a long time. I didn't like the way it looked in the can.
Yeah,
sometimes it
Yeah, it
looks
does.
really
Like the way
wet.
it's in the tub does kind of look a little like cry for help.
Yeah, and I always thought it was different, and nobody told me it was just
Right,
creamy
right,
ice cream. I had it for the
right,
first time when I was
right,
like
right.
27, and I was like,
who told you it's just creamy ice cream? Because that's also not true.
a doctor? my pediatrician? This is not the question. Okay,
Until last
avocado.
year, Lily was also seeing a pediatrician.
Avocado. Incredible. I said, this is so delicious. It's a scoop of ice cream, like in coffee. Usually hard to find the right time to do that because I don't do coffee after noon, but I don't want to do ice cream before noon.
Never the twain shall meet.
But I love that it's a full like kick of like shots of espresso and ice cream. Does this exist, or do we need to make it like it? Could I get as much caffeine as I could in 2 shots of espresso in a pint of ice cream?
Oh.
You could. There's companies out there. I don't think it exists anymore. I just don't think the market is really there for it. But I have seen it. Yes, I've seen it in Wisconsin. Actually, it was called. It was called like Buzz Bang or Bang Buzz or something like that. And it was
Zin
caffeinated.
presents vanilla.
And the similarity it has to the word bang bus is quite
I've
unappealing.
seen it in Wisconsin. It was called some sort of bang bus. I don't know.
Bang bus ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't think
Creamy.
it's on the market anymore,
Oh,
but it was caffeinated.
It's still on the market, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that market is going strong. Okay, let's move to Aparna. Aparna, what would you like to pitch?
Okay, so I guess in my late 20s I had jaw surgery, and afterwards I had to have my mouth wired shut for 2 weeks, so I could only have liquid food or I guess creamy food. So I'm gonna pitch something savory, but so one of my favorite foods is lasagna.
Oh.
And I do hate Mondays, so I do identify as a Garfield. But I'm gonna ask: is there a world in which you could manifest a lasagna ice cream?
Are you sure?
Wow.
about this?
This is the first.
Your jaw
Honest-
works
are you
now, so
honestly-
you don't have to.
You don't have to go
Honestly,
here.
I've made worse decisions, you guys. I'm gonna stick to this one.
This is the
She has
first
jaw
time.
dysmorphia.
I
She
do.
thinks her jaw is still wired shut.
I do. But also, I feel like ricotta's in lasagna, and I do feel like ricotta works in dessert.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
It does definitely works in desserts. Very interesting question. I will say I've gotten a lot of interesting questions in my days of being an ice cream scientist. This is the first time I've gotten lasagna ice cream.
Wow.
time?
A first.
What?
I think there's a reason why, but
I can't imagine
Not
why.
enough. I know why. Not enough dreamers out there.
however, I would ask you, Aparna, what specific flavor in lasagna do you really want to pop through? Is it like the tomato base? Is
Yeah,
it the
because I do feel like
ricotta?
tomato sauce has a sweetness to it, and
definitely
then
does.
ricotta has a creaminess to
Definitely
it. So I
does.
feel like leaning into those two
Yeah.
things.
So it's definitely possible.
I'm not thinking of a spinach white situation.
So it's definitely possible. I think where it gets a little
It's
tricky is with all the
possible.
seasonings.
Sure.
I think we would leave the pasta part of it. I think we just take the flavors
Well,
of
the pasta could be
lasagna.
the cone.
There we go. There we go, Chris.
Okay,
yeah,
hello.
there we go.
A little like lasagna
Like
noodle
a-
cone.
The little crumble on top,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
the fish and chips.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a way to do
sure.
it because ice cream is a blank canvas. You can literally create it into whatever your mind desires or your taste buds desire, and it's literally awaiting people to create it into it. It's kind of like tofu. It's like plain but sweet, and then when you
You lost the audience at it.
I
It's kind of
know.
like tofu, I'll tell you that.
Not me. I locked in. I said, now you're talking my language.
It is in the sense that it picks up whatever you
Right,
put into
right.
it. So
Uh-huh.
as an ice cream scientist, I also consider myself an artist.
Oh.
And when I look at my ice cream mix, I look at it as a blank canvas and what does it want me to create it into, and what do I want my end consumer to have. So that's why I asked you, what flavors do you want to really pop? So I do actually think a lasagna ice cream can be made, but I would be very mindful of too many spices because that's where it sort of
Right.
hits the boundary with the sweet and the kind of this oregano kind of. I don't know about that in the ice cream,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say that we already know that a man with almost unlimited money and an enormous appetite for smoking weed has an ice cream company. It feels like if there's anyone you could pitch lasagna ice cream to, it would be Snoop Dogg.
I mean, I will be honest, it's not going to sell. So.
Okay. If there's one thing Snoop loves more than
Needs to
ice
sell.
cream and weed, it is
It's
business.
money. Yes.
He's
I
like,
gotta make a money.
unfortunately, this is not a good business decision. I must pass. I don't know what, in my head, there was something Snoop about the way I said that, but it wasn't, it didn't
I heard
translate
you
out loud.
trying. I heard you.
Yeah, I thought I would end with the izzle, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
It's definitely for
Yeah.
the best. That would have been a career ender right there. Much like Snoop creating this ice cream. Okay. Well, Maya, let's get a little bit more into the science of ice cream right now. You have studied ice cream under a microscope. You have a PhD in food science. You are a chemist. And you've learned all about ice cream's complicated structure. So we are calling this round sweet microstructures. What can you tell us about what you have discovered, about what makes ice cream special and how that actually looks under a microscope?
So I talked a little bit earlier about partial coalescence. It's the agglomeration of fat globules, and that actually occurs during the freezing process. So you want the agglomeration of fat globules because it attributes to the creaminess, and it also helps your ice cream hold shape. So what I've discovered over time is the importance of partial coalescence, but also how to control it. And so you could end up with too much partially coalesced fat, and that's because you basically overchurn the product, and you could almost create butter where it's full coalescence. And I've done that a lot, actually, during my PhD research, I was meant to do it sometimes. But it was actually very interesting to actually see it happen.
But that's what full coalescence is butter.
Is basically butter, yes, because ice cream and butter start from the same thing. It's cream.
Okay.
So it's just using cream with sweetness, or something sweet like ice cream mix, or using it in something sort of savory or salt related if you want to add salt to the butter.
Can you imagine the person who was meant to churn butter and was a little lazy and didn't do enough, and their mom was yelling at them, going, "You didn't churn it enough," and they went, "You're never gonna believe this.
Look what I
You
made.
gotta try it. I don't know, Mom. Oh no.
I
Yeah.
accidentally added sugar instead of salt. Look what I've made.
Oh.
Done.
Also,
Yeah.
I feel like all ice cream should technically be called "I can't believe it's not butter."
Now that's a money making
Okay,
idea.
I gotta leave on that one, guys.
Okay, well, you brought a few images of ice cream under the microscope. Let's take a look at one of them. What's going on here?
So these are actually ice crystals. So if you ever were curious what ice cream looked like under the microscope, these are ice crystals. And ice crystals, of course, are a very important part of ice cream. It's what helps keep it frozen. And so during the churning process where you pour in your ice cream mix, and your ice cream mix is usually roughly about, let's just say 60 to 63, 64% water. There's a lot of water in your actual ice cream mix, and that water during the freezing process turns into ice, and those ice crystals start to form because the dasher, the blade inside of your ice cream freezer that's churning, breaks up the ice that forms along the barrel walls and creates smaller ice crystals kind of as it churns. And so you can have ice crystals that are, let's say, 17 micron in size, so very, very, very small, all the way up to 65, 70, 80 micron in size, because it depends upon how you're freezing your product. But typically, you want something that is about 50 microns in size for the smoothness, so you don't actually feel the ice crystals. You only know they're there because it's cold.
Okay, and here's another image.
Ooh, fat globules.
Oh, these are fat globules.
Yes, this is fat globules. So these are fat globules under the microscope, and you can see sort of the larger fat globule near the scale bar down there. That's actually a partially coalesced fat. So you'll see all the little guys kind of floating around. Well, if it was moving, they're kind of floating around, and then you'll have the larger one, and that's like that partially coalesced fat that I talked about earlier, where they're partially agglomerated together.
And then last one.
My favorite, air cells. So if you didn't know, there's a lot of air in ice cream, and we have air in ice cream because it helps make it scoopable. It also is sort of the fluffiness attribute of ice cream. If you ever have an ice cream, it's kind of fluffy or kind of airy, but it also helps sort of with the whole overall mouthfeel and shape and structure. And so this is air cells under the microscope. Kind of looks like what you would think, I guess, Coca-Cola or any kind of soda, carbonated beverage with the bubbles, but this is air cells under the microscope.
And this is an Instagram handle?
Yes, it's Instagram handle.
Okay.
I teach people about ice cream on Instagram.
Incredible.
I think it's fascinating.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Does anyone in the live audience have a question? Please feel free to come on up if you do. No pressure if you don't. In the meantime, the online audience is asking, do you have a favorite discontinued ice cream flavor?
Yes. I do.
Okay,
And it's-
I would imagine
yes.
their follow-up question is, what is
Yes,
that
right,
flavor?
Yes, I do. Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay.
So I used to make for my family events and things like that. I used to make a double buttered candied pecan ice cream.
Come on.
Ooh.
I know, and it's discontinued because I don't make it anymore. But I guess I could still make it.
Oh. It's
I
incredible
guess.
that it was self
I think my family's here saying yes, I should.
Oh, there you go. That's great.
And it is as good as it sounds.
And
It's amazing.
Someone is also asking what I believe is kind of more technically a legal question, not an ice cream question. But they're saying, my favorite ice cream is based in Nicaragua. How can I smuggle some to LA to enjoy it here?
So you can bring product into the country. You may have to declare it, but just pack it in dry ice. Put it in a styrofoam box and put that box inside a box. Tape it up. Declare it to the airline that you're traveling with. Let them know you have dry ice because it is a dangerous good to travel with. You can only have 2.2 kilos or basically 5 pounds of dry ice. And then you ship it on through. And you declare
You
it.
got to tell them to find a new flavor. There's a lot of good flavor. Go to Dr.
Dr. Bombay.
and try the pancake. Yeah.
I travel with ice cream all the time.
Oh, that must be a
Yes.
tough thing at security.
It doesn't go through security.
Oh, they
I
just
check
check
it
it.
as luggage.
They check it.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow. That's incredible. Also, I do love that if we clip that whole answer out on social media, you never said the word ice cream until the end. You just said, if you want to get product across the border, put it in a box inside of another box. Cover it, 2.2 kilos of dry ice. You can get anything across the border these days. Let's hear a question from you. Please tell us your name. I'll pretend like you aren't my friend Lisa. Say your name and then ask your question.
Chris's friend. Is this on? No. I'm Chris's friend Lisa.
Hello, hello. I think it will go
Hello.
on. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so my girlfriend's litmus test for whether an ice cream shop knows what they're doing is how they handle vanilla and how they handle banana. My personal litmus test is if a place can do texture well. What is your litmus test?
Wow. Great question.
Very good question. My witness
Thank you.
test is texture first,
Okay.
flavor second. But I do both. And it's because I believe that you can make any bad ice cream, texture-wise, taste phenomenal. But you can't necessarily make any bad texture ice cream taste good. I guess you could, because taste and texture are two separate things, but in eating it within your mouth and the olfactory system, they're so connected that you're like, ooh, this texture is bad. And
I
so
think
you automatically
intuitively,
think it is.
intuitively that makes sense, right? If you're like, these are delicious sharp rocks, it's gonna be a bad flavor.
But yes, texture is actually very important. It's what I look for most. I want to make sure that the ice cream is smooth. I like sort of a higher fat content, so 14% fat ice cream is usually where I sit. And being able to make sure that the flavor takes me on a journey. I don't want just a flat flavor that just sits. I want to say, okay, this is note 1, note 2, and then I'm ending with note 3. And that's kind of how I enjoy my ice cream when I want to enjoy it. Sometimes I just eat it for the sake of eating it. Because I don't want to think about it. I just want to eat.
All of a sudden, the oregano not sounding so.
Ah,
Hey, that's
right.
that's a journey. That's a journey.
That's a journey. That is
It's
definitely a journey.
That's a journey.
Also, once again, Alyssa arguing strong for the Greek flavors.
That's exactly
Oregano.
right. Of course, yes.
You gotta
of
put the
course,
oregano
We must
back
have
in.
oregano.
Please tell us your name and your question.
Hi, my name is Alyssa.
Oh, great name.
And I'm somebody that really wants to like hot sauce. And I'm just wondering, would a hot sauce swirl in like a vanilla ice cream work? Or would it just counteract the hot sauce? Like, what do you think that would work?
Before you answer, I have a follow-up question for you, which is, you said you really want to like hot
I
sauce.
want to. I
So it's like-
really want to, but I will cry. I
So
will
you-
cry if I have hot sauce.
You're
That's too
curious.
hot.
You're curious if this
Because
flavor would
the
work in ice cream,
flavors-
but you don't like the flavor just as is.
Well, I don't like the hotness, but some hot sauces have really good flavor.
Okay, cool. I get it.
So I want that without being in pain.
Okay, Maya, can you help?
So you mean work in terms of make it taste good or work in terms of freezing properly? Two separate things.
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you can make it work in terms of taste good, but it still may not be what you want if the spiciness still pops through because you don't like spice.
It basically, you could have the hotness of it, but then like you would immediately have the cream.
Right,
so
which
you
helps
wouldn't-
cool it down.
Exactly.
Yes. So yes, you can. I would get the hot sauce that you really like the flavor of because that's what's going to come through more. And you're right, with the milk fat, it can help sort of tame down that spiciness. But I would do it in terms of like, imagine like a caramel swirl, but make that a hot sauce swirl instead, and add a bit of add a bit of salt in there. Add a couple other flavors. I've done some hot honey ice cream swirls before. Yes, but one thing I would be a little cautious of is the vinegar that's often in hot sauce, because for me, vinegar and ice cream, they just don't go together. I don't know, they just don't work. Functionality, it can work. Freezing, it can freeze. However, I just don't think that they should go together. But yes, you can do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Please tell us your name and what your question is.
My name's Emily. So I have a question about condiments. I personally don't do a lot of toppings on my ice cream. I'm kind of a purist. I want just the ice cream flavor to come through. What are your feelings on toppings on ice cream?
So I love an inclusion. And so
In inclusion, they call it in the industry, in the biz.
Kind of makes you feel bad that you're against inclusion, Emily. Well.
Sorry, you said your name was Emily?
Yeah.
We love
Look right into the camera and say it again. Which of the other letters in DEI do you hate?
So I love an inclusion in ice cream, and those inclusions can be called a particulate, and those are like the harder inclusions, like the cookie pieces or the candy pieces or anything like that. And then a ribbon, like the hot sauce swirl we just talked about with Alyssa, is what we call a variegated. And so I love texture, and the texture that can be brought into ice cream with inclusions. So I'm all for it. But but I'm all for you being a purist as well. Like, I really am, because you don't need the extra.
I don't think we should use the word purist.
Okay.
And that's growth. And that's growth. Emily, that is growth.
People can change.
Much like ice cream, they can change, they can soften.
Yes.
They never can go back to where they were before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Emily.
We're going to get these two questions, and then we are going to go to two online questions, and then we're going to get to the next segment. Please tell us your name.
Maya, I'm Dee.
You're Maya. I'm like, hey, Maya.
Ah.
Hi, Dee.
I had a question about so in Asian communities, not too sweet is the ultimate dessert compliment, which I'm sure you know. And my question was, is there a world out there of ice cream that I don't know about that's not too sweet?
In the U.S.? Yes. Maybe some specialty shops in the U.S. Of course, the ice cream that we make is for the general U.S. market, and so it tends to be a little bit sweeter. But if you were to go to maybe some Asian grocery stores where products are maybe shipped in from overseas, you might have ice cream or frozen aerated dessert that's maybe not as sweet. However, I will say, if you do travel, I love to travel. If you do travel, go to Taiwan. The tea ice cream that they make, beautiful, and it's not too sweet. It's actually perfect. But I also want to put out there that sugar is very important in ice cream. It helps with the freezing aspect of it, so there is a reason why we use it. But in the U.S., we tend to make it very, very, very sweet, but it's just how our society is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've touched on some big topics.
We really have.
We have. Please.
Hi. I wondered. Okay, so at the beginning, I'm Liz, by the way. But hi. At the beginning of the show, it was referenced that some people do less cold ice cream, and I mean, not I want a hot bowl of ice cream, but kind of close. And so, my question is there ice cream that is meant to, not necessarily from a sweetness perspective, because I know that was discussed, that it's sweeter. I don't think that that's why I like less cold ice cream. I just don't know that I want to taste frozen. To me, when I eat ice cream, I'm it tastes like cold. And I feel like I can't taste it. And actually, the fact that it's sweeter, I would say, is a negative. So my question is, do you know an ice cream that's intended to be served tepid.
And now I feel very confident that I can take. I can take this one.
Okay.
Chris.
What you're looking for is cream. So they have invented that. You are just looking for cream, Liz, and we got you in every grocery store.
That's been around for a long time.
You could have a warm bowl of tepid cream.
I think to be fair, I think they might be looking for cream with inclusion.
Cream with inclusions. And there you go.
Always.
So
And that's a
basically,
beautiful
ice
thing.
cream mix, like a cereal, we are inclusions, and then pour the ice cream mix on top, and you're set.
Okay.
Wait. Ice cream mix with inclusions and pour the ice cream mix
Yeah,
on
what's
top.
confusing about that,
So you have a bowl, you put your inclusions, and you
Okay.
pour your ice cream mix on top. You grab your spoon and you're eating it. I am not promoting this, by the way.
Wait, but sorry, but is ice cream mix, I know you've referenced it a bunch, but is that a product that is...
You can buy that somewhere?
You can buy it?
Or you make it.
You can't. Regular everyday people really aren't buying ice cream mix, but you
Right.
can make it.
Okay.
It's really not for sale that way because
Well,
what are
Liz
you
might
gonna,
not be a
what are you gonna do
regular
with
everyday
it?
person.
You might not. Liz. You're right. You might
I'm
not.
Tepid cream. Chris said the phrase tepid cream, and I said, somebody's called you that before. Somebody bullied you with that.
That's my Instagram handle. At tepid cream 40x.
Not the 40x.
Yep.
Those are like for all my science people out there.
Oh, I know.
I don't want people to think, science people.
Yes.
Woo! I don't want people to think that it's like you're just going to look at ice cream on a microscope slide and you're going to automatically see air cells. No,
Yeah,
you
it's
got to
gotta
kind
be
of blow it up.
Well, I also feel compelled, I gotta say. Now, we got a great question, but this is
Thank
a
you.
celebrity guest here. Liz Glazer.
Oh, thank
A
you.
new comedy special out now called
Oh,
Do You
thanks,
Know Who I'm
Chris.
Not? You gotta watch it. It's great.
Best.
Didn't Liz, were you just on
And on Fallon.
Okay, yeah.
From Jimmy Fallon
you
to
can
asking
watch-
questions about can you get a bowl of warm ice cream.
Well, I was gonna say that if you watch the Fallon set and/or the special, get yourself a bowl of tepid ice cream.
Literally, I will
How
just
it's
say,
meant to be enjoyed.
Liz, we did not plan this, but nothing could more embody the reality of a Hollywood and comedy career than the fact that one day you could be on national television being a standing ovation from the audience, and the next day you could be mocked by your peers in the darkness
Happy
for
to
your
be.
personal preferences.
I'm loving it.
Wonderful.
Great question, Liz.
Oh,
Thank you so
thanks,
much.
thanks,
Thank you.
Maya. Thank you, guys.
Well, we learned a little bit about the actual science of what's happening in ice cream under the microscope. But before the show, not having seen these images, we also asked our panelists to draw a picture of what they thought ice cream would look like if you looked at it under a microscope. And here is what they came back with. The first one is from Aparna. Aparna, would you like to care to walk us through this microscopic image?
I imagine that what's happening under the microscope is a little bit of a girl group situation where there's different molecules doing different jobs, kind of like Maya said, where it's air and it's fat and it's globules, and so these are kind of the different roles being performed, and so there's Swirly, and Swirly kind of does texture, and then
Swirly looks also
Wait, Swirly okay?
horrified.
Swirly looks like
Swirly is being assaulted somewhere.
okay with Swirly.
Very concerned about Swirly.
Swirly's just concerned because texture is such an important part of it. And then Chili is more stoic, is all about temperature. And then Jackie is about flavor. She's kind of, Jackie of all trades. And then Milky's kind of mad because obviously milk fat is what makes ice cream, so she's kind of doing the heavy lifting.
Milky
And she feels like she doesn't get enough credit. And then
Milky kind of like an angry Frida Kahlo also.
Yeah, Milky's definitely doing a lot of work for the group. And then no one is quite sure what Scoops does.
Okay.
But
It's a personality hire.
Yeah.
And just to
Yeah.
be clear, Scoops is baby spice, Swirly is sporty, Chili is posh. Now, who the hell?
Jackie is scary.
Okay.
I would argue maybe Swirly is scary at the moment.
True. It's kind of up to interpretation.
Okay, now, a part of that is a beautiful image.
Thank you.
And I just want to show you that the human imagination, it's such a vast spectrum of how any question can be interpreted. Because we asked all of you the same question. What do you think ice cream looks like under a microscope? That's what you sent in.
That's what
This
I
is from
did.
Alyssa.
Top.
Okay, sure, laugh. It's not as creative. Now, if you put under here, hold on. If you put under here, at Maya times 40x, you would believe this is real. You would believe this is real.
That's true. That's
And
true.
I will say,
It-
a little smiley face.
Oh.
True.
A little smiley face. So yeah, scientifically accurate with a little bit of fun.
This is a Rorschach blot
This is
test.
beautiful. I love
When
it.
I see it, I think of my father.
I also want to point out, Alyssa, it looks like you drew this in Sharpie on your wall. That does not look like a piece of paper to me.
I love your show, and I'm committed to your show. And a wall is a wall. Who needs
Thank
it?
you so
Yeah,
much.
Of course.
And then,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Liz. And thank you, Liz. Again, watch Liz on Fallon.
Yeah. Do you know who I'm not? Look for that on YouTube. Lily Do, what did you send in? Okay. Under a microscope.
Okay, to me, the way science works is when you zoom in, it's just a smaller version of the bigger thing. But I'm like, you know what? When I saw that first photo from Maya's, I was like, okay, they are little globules.
Have some crystals.
Yeah, yeah, and one of them has a cherry on top.
Inclusion.
Also, inclusion. It's so important to be inclusive. When I saw partners, I realized I could have drawn these normal sized. For whatever reason, when I drew these, I drew them so small. And then I had such a hard time taking a photo because it wouldn't focus. I drew them like this big. Why?
Absolutely beautiful. I love that. Well,
That's awesome.
Yeah, really nice job. Really nice job.
well, we're going to try an in-person experiment where everyone in the in-person audience gets to experience the microstructures of ice cream in their macro mouths. So we have ice cream cups here from Handel's Ice Cream in Los Feliz, and we're going to be handing those out to everyone else. So if you could help us out by raising your hand if you are vegan or need non-dairy. And otherwise, we'll just give you one of the other flavors and you can trade. But if you need a non-dairy or vegan flavor, you can get the mango sorbet. Otherwise, anyone can have anything.
I did see that Liz thought it was raise your hand if you want ice cream. And then it went up, and then
Everyone's
went
getting
back
that.
down.
Don't worry. And while we do this, Phil K, why don't you come up? Phil is the man from behind Handel's Los Feliz who came with this ice cream for us all. Phil, come to the microphone. Now, Phil, you have a fascinating backstory where you were a traveling poet, traveling the world, performing poetry, and then you decided, now I will run an ice cream store.
Classic poetry to ice cream pipeline.
That's right.
Well-trodden revolving door.
Does anyone have questions for a man who runs an ice cream business?
I have so many questions, but also, do people in the audience need lactate? Is anyone
Oh,
lactose
yes. If anyone-
intolerant?
Yes.
Lily literally does have lactate. Now, I would ask for you to...
We all do.
You need it. I would ask you to ask one important question, which is, can you please say, Lily, where are you keeping the lactate?
And think to yourself, how badly do I need this lactate?
Now, I need you to say that out loud. Lily, where is the lactate?
Okay, so my dress doesn't have pockets, so I put it in the front of my underwear. But it's fresh underwear, if that makes a difference. They're silk.
Again, my second question, how badly do you need lactate?
For some people, this would add to the value of the lactate, and for many people, it would lower
Do
the
you
value.
want it? It's wrapped. Okay, she says
It's wrapped. It's wrapped.
I truly cannot believe someone is accepting that. Wow. Should be said, we probably should have posted a sign that said, we're not liable for anything that happens to you during the show or after the show or anything to your body or
we do
medical
for ice
injuries.
cream.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Other questions for Phil?
Well, the flavors, while we're just
Oh,
hitting
yeah.
them
Tell
out.
us about the flavors, Phil.
So we've got 3 flavors. Let me just say, I've gotten to serve lots of people. We've had critics come to the store. I have never been more nervous for people to try this ice cream than right now with you four and Dr. Maya. But the flavors we've got today is Chocoholic Chunk, which is going to be a deep, dark chocolate ice cream with chocolate chips. We've got our Graham Central Station, which is going to be a graham cracker ice cream with a graham cracker variegate.
Very good, yes.
And chocolate-covered honeycomb inclusions.
Oh.
And then we've got our vanilla with Oreo, which is going to be our version of a cookies and cream. Did I already say that? No, I did not.
Nope.
Joe.
And then the last one is going to be our mango sorbet, which is vegan with a ton of mango in there.
Okay, incredible. Okay, and
The texture, I will say, I think the ice cream has sat for a little bit, so it's a little warmer than I ideally would like to be.
perfect for Liz.
We got Fallon called, and we're like, can we get tepid ice cream? My name's Jimmy Fallon, and I said yes.
Woman that I gave a latte
What?
to. Don't worry. I got another
I'm getting
one.
it for now. Oh, actually, yeah, let's take one. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, Phil, now you make ice cream every day in the store.
I do.
What have you learned that you didn't know about ice cream from tonight?
I've learned a ton tonight, like embarrassingly a lot. Thank you, Dr. Maya. I was like, I got to write this down. I think I didn't know the microbial level of ice cream. I didn't actually know what's going on in the machine. I know that I put all our fresh ingredients. The thing we do at Handles is we make all our ice cream fresh every day in the store, which is part of why I think it tastes amazing.
Wow, this
ice
is
cream,
really good.
Ice cream is not much different than most other foods. If you have it fresh, it tastes a lot better.
Amazing fresh.
Yes.
Is that true? That's true, right?
Oh, there's nothing like it. Yeah.
So
It's very
that's
special.
that's a lot of what we do. But I didn't know exactly what's going on. I didn't realize the dasher is breaking down the ice particles into smaller things.
And that you all learned from my photo or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I saw that and I understood my business.
Wait, when did you
Yes.
make the leap? How did you make the leap from poetry
To ice cream?
Were you writing a haiku? And
Yeah. Sonnet. Midway through the sonnet, the ice cream store appeared. How did I make the leap? I think it was kind of like in the COVID fever dream that we were all in. Basically, I was like, my wife and I were starting to think about having a family. I was touring all the time, and it was like this did not feel sustainable. And then we're like, it's a great idea in COVID with the restaurant business. But it had been a joke for a long time. Like, what if we opened that ice cream store? And then at some point, it was like, we're going to do this or we're not. And I think we should do this crazy thing. And we did.
And just to be clear, Handles is like a brand that existed before
me.
And then how
have a
did
franchise.
that work? For
Totally.
your franchise?
So
of it?
we're a small franchise out of Ohio, which is where also a few other brands are from. Great dairy over there. But it's a super small company. It's been around since 1945. A lot of those recipes are still the same recipes we use now. And so my wife and I own that store, the Los Feliz store.
Someone online is asking, do you write poetry as descriptions for your ice cream? Or poems
I
that
don't,
involve
but I
ice
may
cream?
now.
You should.
Yes, maybe now.
And I have someone else online is asking a question that is relevant to me right now, which is, how does one prevent or stop brain freeze?
Oh.
You just have to eat a little bit slower.
Okay, that's not an option.
Or
Okay.
Liz, we could just make the cereal ice cream with ice cream mix and.
There you go. There you go. Okay, incredible. Well, I think since people are having the ice cream and they're enjoying it, let's continue. Can everyone give a big round of applause with one hand while they eat with the other hand? Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you.
I love Handles. The portions there are so big. It's incredible.
This is not even one spoonful of one of your cups.
This is like 1/5 of a scoop
Yeah.
they give you.
Yep. Someone online also said something. It's interesting because online it's actually harder to do this. In person it's much easier to say a thing that is not a question but is like a statement, But online sometimes people tell a story too, and this one's great. I have a semi-traumatic memory of trying to make ice cream at summer camp when I was 9. I remember shaking a mix. Talk about poetry. I remember shaking a mixture in a Ziploc bag for ages while my hands got redder and redder with the cold. But I kept telling myself I had to keep shaking so I could get ice cream at the end. I can't remember if it actually resulted in ice cream. Anyway, can Maya explain how this was meant to work? Can you help this person process childhood trauma?
Yes. So the ice cream making in a Ziploc bag, have you done it before? Or at least attempted? A lot of people have. So basically you have a brine solution on the outside, which is rock salt and ice. And what's happening is, just like if you lived in a cold climate and it's snowing outside or snow is coming, they put salt on the road, and that basically melts the ice, and or what we call in the world of ice cream, lowering the freezing point depression. So you're lowering the point at which the product actually really does freeze. So in the case of making ice cream in a Ziploc bag, the reason why it becomes so cold is because you're actually lowering the temperature of the ice, even though it's melting, because the salt's there. So when you're shaking it, you've got a little bag, another little Ziploc bag with ice cream mix on the inside, and basically you're just shaking it to cause the agitation, because if not, you would just have, basically the ice cream mix would just freeze into a block. So you need the shaking aspect of it to help it actually form into a mixture where ice crystals are forming and the viscosity is increasing, and therefore you end up with an ice cream type product. But I love making ice cream that way because it's fun for kids, but like...
Not for this kid.
No, yeah. Sorry, yeah, not for this kid.
What do you think this loser did wrong?
I don't know. Not a loser.
Tell it to 9-year-old holding a bag of ice.
Maybe you didn't put enough rock salt inside.
Okay,
that
good.
tends to be people's problem. But that takes so long to freeze that a lot of kids aren't patient for it. But the way I do it is I just load an insane amount of rock salt in there to really help lower the freezing point of that ice to make it as cold as possible and like really, really, really shake it.
And then is it saltier though?
Salty?
Like you're shaking it with the rock salt.
No, but that's on the outside of the ice cream mix.
Oh, you're not eating rock salt.
No.
It's okay, Chris. The moment I started eating ice cream, my mind went blank.
I
It's like
know.
it's like a flat line up here. No new information is coming in my head.
It is true. I was just like,
Only ice cream in my mouth.
That's okay. That's happened to me a time or two when I was graduating with my PhD, which is quite a feat. I thought my family would be very, very proud of me. I invited my family up to Wisconsin to come and have a day in the life of Maya. And I had all this ice cream stuff prepared, and I was so excited for them to be there. And I was like, and ice crystals, and they were like, Maya, where's the ice cream? Like, we don't care anything about the science. Like, and I was like, guys. And yeah, I didn't even teach them anything about ice cream, so really, I get it. I get it.
well, as people are still eating their ice cream, what should audience members be like looking for and paying attention to when they're trying this delicious, fresh-made ice cream?
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit earlier with the texture aspect and the flavor aspect. But if you don't really want to go that deep into it, you're just looking for what can make you happy, what puts a smile on your face. And that's what ice cream does for people. If you have a bad day or not a great day, eat ice cream, makes you feel better. You have a wonderful day, it can make you feel even that much better. Like, it's such a happy food. And yes, ice cream is a food, if someone were to ask that. It's such a happy food. But when you're looking at it, when I actually do eat ice cream, I'm looking for, again, that texture. I'm looking for that flavor release. I got the cookies and cream, or Oreo
cream.
And Oreos and cream. And, I'm looking for the big inclusions in there because I like, the big size pieces. So if I were to have gotten Graham Central Station, which I don't think was an option when I got my last one. But I would have looked for, that saltiness coming through with that graham cracker swirl or that variegate, and sort of the balance of flavors. Is it too sweet? I don't believe it's too sweet, but kind of that what journey does it take you on?
You have a question? Please come on up.
I do. Thank you. My name is Malka. Thank you guys so much. This is so fun and so interesting. I actually have two questions. If someone in my family sitting next to me was interested in making ice cream as a new hobby.
Okay, purely hypothetical, clearly.
Total hypothetical.
Crazy how you came up with that.
Yeah.
Imaginative.
It's really how I come up with the best ideas. Just saying. Would you recommend any sort of recipe or how to get started for someone else?
Okay.
Yes.
To make it for the family.
Yes.
This is such a key moment at the end that I want to make sure no one missed, which is the end was to make it for the family. It's not like a hobby for themselves. Basically, like,
No self-promotion here, but I would actually do no-churn ice cream. It's the best way to be able to make ice cream at home where you don't actually have to have an ice cream freezer of any sort. You have a hand mixer, you have heavy whipping cream and sweetened condensed milk, and you create your ice cream by fluffing up your cream into whipped cream, trapping in those air cells. Remember we talked about air cells earlier? Then you add your sugar, which your sweetened condensed milk. You fold that in. You can add in any kind of inclusions that you want. Add a pinch of salt to help kind of that flavor kind of boost through. You could make it with coffee if you were to put instant coffee in your cream and whip that up. You can create a coffee with cream. So there's a lot of things that you can do, but I would do the no churn ice cream way. I think it's kind of the best way to do it at home because it's the smoothest. It's a little high in fat, but yeah, it's okay. Like it's ice cream.
Amazing. I hope everything was noted down.
Wow.
One more question. Just in terms of concept and how you dream of these ideas. I run a non-for-profit to promote unity and love and having women shine. If I were to give you that kind of idea, how could we run with it and create an ice cream flavor?
Very good. The audience love that question. So to be able to run with that and create an ice cream flavor, I would look at what food elements shine and that could actually work in ice cream. So is it something shine bright, kind of like lemon?
Sugar,
like
spice, everything nice.
Is it like lemon that really pops, or is it something bold, like a dark chocolate? Or it depends upon kind of which way you want to go. But I would start first with the sort of adjectives that you want to use to describe it, and then we would relate the foods to that, and then we would use ice cream mixes or blank canvas to create the product that your end product that you desire.
So just pitch us for 1 second. Obviously, it doesn't matter. This is helping encourage women to shine bright. What would your instant it sounds like your thoughts went to like dark chocolate. It went to lemon. Any other flavors that come to mind?
Other flavors that come to mind actually would be maybe a sorbet and not actually a ice cream, just because it's lighter. Women do a lot of heavy lifting, and so sometimes you don't.
Ice cream can be metaphor.
I know a girl in your spice group who might she might like that.
Yeah.
Milk can take a back seat for once.
Yeah.
She can take a rest.
Yes, very true. And so I think the lighter route would actually be beneficial. But I would add depth of complexity flavor-wise, where you don't even realize what flavor it is until you really go on the journey. Because life can be very complex. It isn't necessarily straightforward. And that, to me, is how ice cream is supposed to be made.
Okay, poetry, come back.
I love that.
Hello.
And now, just because I'm curious, if I was to start a nonprofit encouraging men to be mediocre, what ice cream flavor would you have for that?
Tepid Cream LLC.
Tepid vanilla cream. Come to me, my brothers, my tepid vanilla cream brothers. Thank you so much.
Great question.
Okay, well, Maya, we've talked about this a little bit. You have traveled the world studying and working on ice cream. What are some of the places that you visited? I know there's so many, but where have you spent some extended times working on ice cream?
I spent extended time in Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya, working on ice cream. They've got some of the best dairy I've actually ever had in the world. I spent extensive time in Australia, doing some ice cream projects, as well as India, and Brazil, and Pakistan. Yeah, like kind of all over the world. Taiwan, Thailand, Indonesia, yeah.
And you are, obviously, even if we didn't add any other biographical facts about you, you are already one of the most interesting people that anyone could have ever met. And yet, a fact we haven't even touched on yet is that you, speaking of travel, were also a contestant on The Amazing Race. That's right.
Is that good for people's ears? Me screaming straight to the mic.
Wait, tell us everything.
Yes.
I was.
Were you already an ice cream scientist when you were on The Amazing Race?
I was
Pre.
getting my PhD, so I was
Okay.
becoming the official ice cream scientist.
And
what does
one study to become an official ice cream scientist?
So I started, my journey was starting with a Bachelor's of Arts in Chemistry from Carleton College in Northfield, Minnesota. Whoop, whoop, Carleton, woo! Carleton College in Minnesota, and then I ended up going to University of Wisconsin-Madison to do my PhD in food science, but my specialty is in the microstructure, sensorial, and behavioral properties of frozen aerated desserts.
Of course.
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
No need. We all got it.
We got it.
Just one more time, real quick again.
Microstructure, sensorial, behavioral properties of frozen aerated desserts.
Okay, that was.
Definitely got
I definitely heard frozen aerated desserts.
Frozen aerated desserts. So that's
Okay.
basically ice cream, frozen yogurt, sherbet, sorbet, all of its close cousins, etc. That's a frozen aerated because of the air. We talked about air cells earlier. And dessert is, of course, the sweetness aspect of it.
And so, obviously, the producers were like, this is incredible. You are a frozen aerated dessert expert. Let's get you traveling the world.
Yes, so I actually did the Amazing Race with my lab mate, Amy DeYoung,
Wow.
who is a candy scientist.
Oh.
We
Someone
gotta
online
get
is.
her on also, and then also me
us
as a
again.
guest, and the candy sample.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's a candy scientist, and we decided to try out for the Amazing Race. We went down, we were in Wisconsin, both getting our PhDs at the time, and went down and stood in line for about 5 hours and got asked, "Are you ready?" And we said yes, and they said go. We blabbed for about 1 minute, and they said okay, and that was it. I then went to a wedding in Milwaukee, drove back down, ran the Chicago Marathon the next day, and I know, I'm a little cray, but and then we got a call back about 2 months later saying, "We love your PhDs. They're so cute." We were like, "We don't know if they're cute, but glad you love them, and let's talk."
Uh-huh. And how did you do on the show?
How? Sorry.
How?
Oh yes, I won the Amazing Race.
You won the Amazing Race?
Yes.
What season?
God.
What number season?
I was on season 25.
Okay. I do like, it's also like the audience being furious to be like, "She won, how dare you question her?" It's like I asked the queen, "And what do you do for a living?" I was setting her up, come on.
Amy and I,
wild.
Dr. DeYoung and I, she has her PhD now. She works for Wrigley Mars in the candy world in Chicago, and we are the reigning female team, the third female team to win the race. It's still the reigning female team. Yeah.
Y'all ever think of doing some Willy Wonka shit together?
We should.
Yeah. You should get some kids stuck in pipes.
Wow.
So panelists, obviously you love ice cream, you love traveling. Let's combine the two in a game where we travel around the world looking at international treats called Swirled Around the World. So I'm going to give you the name of a frozen dessert, and you tell me where on this map it comes from. Okay, so you have options are Italy, India, Turkey,
This is
Mexico,
for us, or-
Iran, and Taiwan. Any of the three of you can you can call out the answer. The way you have to buzz in is you have to scream the word ice cream, okay?
Okay.
That's buzzing in. Yes, for the three of you. She knows the answers.
Okay,
She's traveled to
okay,
the places and has eaten the foods. Okay. So whoever knows the answer, you say ice cream, and whoever, then I'll get you. Okay. Let's start easy. Where is the frozen dessert gelato?
Ice cream.
Yes. Where is gelato
Jeopardy
from?
rules, Italy.
That's right. Italy
Italian
is gelato.
heritage.
Easy.
Your heritage.
Okay, and next up, kulfi.
Ice cream.
Okay, Aparna.
India.
That's right. It's India. All right.
Yum.
Next up, Dandurma.
Ice cream.
Okay, well, two people slowly backing away from the buzzer, simultaneously standing back from the buzzer. Who would like it?
We both wanted Amazing
Say-
Race style.
Oh, yes, take it together. A female victory. We love to see it.
Count of three.
One,
1, 2, 3.
Turkey.
Iraq.
Oh, Aparna was right, leaving her partner behind.
Wow.
Turkey it is. There we go.
That's so beautiful.
Next up, what about paletas?
Ice cream.
There we go.
I will say Mexico.
That's right.
Correct. I love paleta. Beautiful.
Next up, and it is getting easier because there are limited numbers of possibilities. Bastani.
Ice cream.
Okay.
All together, 3 at a time.
1, 2, 3.
Iran.
That's right. You all interestingly pronounced the name of the country several different ways, but it was correct.
Iran.
Okay, and
Kind of the only thing that we talk about Iran these days for.
That's right.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, I did say, should we remove this? And then I thought, that's weird to remove it.
Yeah.
We'll leave it in. And moving right along. Finally, what about Schwab
Ice cream.
Okay. What do you think? It's the only one left.
Taiwan.
It's Taiwan!
Oh, it's so good.
That looks so good.
That counts as ice cream? I thought it was like a
That's a frozen
ice.
dessert.
It's a frozen dessert.
Okay.
It's
mostly
like the finely shaped, the finely
Mango
shaped
ice.
ice.
The way Aparna said, it's mostly inclusion.
I was trying to stop talking because Maya was talking, and instead I just short circuited.
You stop talking the way I stop on a bike if someone's in the crosswalk. Oh. Okay. Any reactions or questions about those ice creams from around the world from the three of you?
Yeah, obviously.
You go first.
Greece not even anywhere to be found.
No.
Not even any baklava ice cream. We have
But
all
what-
this connection.
What
There was
does
such
Greek?
synergy.
That's true. What would Greeks like a special type of ice cream be?
I think we've already established.
A baklava.
Baklava.
Yeah, but it's not like
I
they
don't know
have
what else.
Those were kind of variations on a frozen dessert.
Are variations of a flavor.
On flavor.
What we did today was mostly, except for the saffron ice cream, it's mostly variations of a frozen irradiated dessert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my question.
Yes.
Where is the first historically documented area that an ice cream type dessert was found?
So there's a battle between China and Italy.
Okay.
Yeah. China and
Don't
it's
I know it?
It's you.
Me how mom, my Italian ancestors. Spaghetti or noodles?
Oh.
You tell me.
Two wolves live inside Lily Dew.
So it's more of like, did an emperor sort of have people go out and get snow and honey, and then how did that transfer over to Italy? And so it's a bit of back and forth in the history
Or
of
was
it.
it
of,
a
like,
plumber who magically popped out a
Right.
pipe eating mushrooms, holding an
Maybe
ice
that
cream in his
too.
hand with his friend who wears similar clothing? Classic question in science.
do you all know what dondurma is?
No.
Are you curious?
Please tell us, please.
Does anyone know what dondurma is? Yeah, so it's stretchy. It's made. It's almost looks like gum in a way. It's what we call booza. You could call it booza maybe if you've seen that word. And it's made with like a resin, like a salep and a mastic. And it's very. You can make it stretch really, 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 really high up. Or really long, I should say. It's like almost looks like taffy. And if you've ever seen like in the Middle East or maybe in Turkey. People sort of playing with the ice cream on a stick. That's dondurma because it's sticky. It's a lot stickier and it can stay because it's made with the resin and the salad.
Is this one the one that's technically an ice cream, or this is a frozen dessert?
This can technically be an ice cream because there's added. So in ice cream we use stabilizers to help hinder the growth of ice crystals over time, and so they're using it at a higher level and they're using different ingredients to be able to make it stretchy, but it does melt. Ish.
Well, we always want in our shows to not just know about the science and not just know about the topic, but to get to know a little bit more about what our guest expert is like as a person and what her life is like outside of the research. So we're going to do a segment where we find out how an ice cream expert views herself. This is Self Scoop. So panelists, I asked Maya before the show to tell me, if she were an ice cream, what flavor would she be? Which of these three possible responses is the one that she actually gave? Did she say, I would be soggy Oreo, spicy honey and crispy waffle, or low-fat, sugar-free vanilla? Talk amongst yourselves into the microphones and tell us what you think. What do you think? Discuss it, debate it, come to a conclusion.
Okay, it feels like two of them are joke answers.
Yeah.
But then the one that feels real, the middle one,
Yeah.
is like, is that too on the nose?
Right.
Here's what I'll say. I know that we have spicy hot honey was something that was
Yes,
discussed by mine.
yes.
So I'm thinking that might be it. But also, low-fat, sugar-free vanilla. Guess what?
What?
Women they carry a lot on their shoulders.
Uh-huh.
Maybe women need something a little bit lighter. And Maya was talking about that. So could it be number 3?
Yes, because ice cream metaphor. Ice cream
Exactly.
metaphor.
Yeah, but low-fat, sugar-free vanilla feels to me like the way they would market to women of like, you need something lighter, but really
Yeah.
it's like, because we don't want to see your thighs.
Yeah, and you need sugar for ice cream.
you
We've
need
learned
sugar for
you need
ice cream.
sugar for ice
Yes.
cream.
Number two.
That's true.
And then soggy
and
Oreo.
you need fat.
Soggy
Not
Oreo,
soggy
of course,
Oreo
that's
because-
yours.
That's Chris's. He put it Chris's.
His own.
Black on the outside, white on the inside.
Well,
like her.
and that's me. That's how I describe.
No, my self-esteem is too good and healthy.
Yes, that's what
number
I
two.
feel.
Number 2.
And also for number 1, too healthy
It's-
for number 1.
And soggy, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the answer was actually soggy Oreo. Oh, Maya, tell us about that.
So I love a soggy Oreo, and the reason is because when you put the Oreo or the cookie or anything that doesn't have a fat barrier or a chocolate barrier into the actual ice cream, you end up with something called moisture migration that makes it soggy over time. And I love that.
Migration is so important for inclusion.
Yeah, it's true.
And I really love it because you never really know what you're going to get from the exterior. And when you have it the first time, it can surprise you time and time again. And I think I surprise people time and time again with the kind of crazy things I do in life, but always fun and usually always related to ice cream. So, but there's something special about a soggy Oreo. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think you explain it beautifully, and I don't think you should be putting that on your dating profile.
Not at all. Not at all.
And I do feel proud we didn't pick it. You know,
Yes.
I think it's okay. Soggy, yes.
It's okay.
You can call yourself that. Friends can't call you that.
In ice cream, a soggy particulate is not a bad thing.
Interesting.
Yes, but a soggy soggy piece of cereal in ice cream, not really, but a soggy Oreo or a soggy chocolate chip cookie in ice cream, oh.
Wow, I would argue you could go even soggier if you get tepid with it.
It could just be one big
Yeah,
song.
one big
Good.
But who here got the cookies or the Oreo and cream? So you love a soggy Oreo? You just didn't maybe realize you love a soggy Oreo. See, we're out there.
And you know what? Everyone in this room learned that they loved a soggy Oreo.
Yeah.
The soggy Oreo that is mine.
Yes, but the moisture migration is the key component of it all.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. Well, we are at the end of our show. Thank you so much, Maya. Before we go, what do you hope that audience members will take away from tonight's show?
I really hope that you can take away the beauty of the art and science of ice cream and how it really does bring us together like no other food can. It has no biases. It speaks every single language. And at a time like this in the world that we're in, when we really talked about inclusion today, and all of that, it's just really important to have something like this that can truly bond us and bring us together. And for me, that is what ice cream is in its totality. And so I hope that you all take away to find your ice cream. What is it that make your eyes light up? Something that you can do every single day, and you'll love it more and more. And that for me is ice cream. So I hope I've inspired you all to find something that you love so much that you can do every single day the way I do it.
I also do want to note, Maya, you already got ice cream from Handles. Maya also brought coupons for Dr. Bombay ice cream. So as you leave, you can get a coupon for Dr. Bombay. So panelists, that is what Maya hopes that everyone will take away from today's show. What will you actually be taking away from today's show? Aparna, let's start with you. What will you be taking away from tonight's show?
I guess I feel like now if someone is like, oh, everything's so woke these days, everything's so PC, I'm gonna be like, oh, you don't want things to be PC? I guess you hate ice cream. Yes. Because it stands for partial coalescence, and then by then they'll already be walking away.
And Lily Dew, what will you be taking away from tonight's show?
I have learned that I have to be putting my handle on my slides.
Yes!
On my slides.
Yes!
I have been publishing slides.
You're
and
right.
Nobody can find my socials from
Absolutely.
it. And so it's really just a clever kind of,
Yes.
it's smart salesmanship, it's marketing myself, and I gotta be putting my handle on my slides.
That is smart. That's a big takeaway. I also learned from you that people will really accept a lactate pill from anywhere.
Yes.
It's true.
It's in wrapping.
And Alyssa Limberis, what will you be taking away from today's show?
Well, yes, I was gonna say, of course, if I see a woman on the street and she doesn't have pockets, I will know that doesn't necessarily mean she's doesn't have something on her person. Gosh, number two, I think it's like I learned a lot about ice cream.
Okay, that's great.
I learned a lot about ice cream, and I think I feel like ice cream is such a joyful thing that you might be like, oh, but maybe the science of ice cream will be really heady. And then Maya was just like so bright. You're exactly who I feel like you're so bright and cheerful, and that's that's what did you say was child's dream was to be I think you're living a lot of people's
Absolutely.
You're spreading a lot of joy, so thank you.
That is perfect. That is a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much to all three of you for playing. That is it for tonight. Thank you to tonight's expert, Dr. Maya Warren. Thank you to our panelists, Aparna Nancherla, Alyssa Limberis, and Lily Dew. Thank you to everyone at the National Academy of Sciences and LabX, in particular, Carrie, our producer, who is up there in the booth. Thank you to the incredible staff here at Dynasty Typewriter: Samuel, Liam, Lydia, Thomas, Trent, Ryan, Sophia, Grace, Jasmine, Jenny, Kate, Joe, Tim, Missy, and everyone else. And thank you to Phil and Molly Kay, who provided ice cream from Handel's Los Feliz. I am your host, Chris Duffy, and this has been Wrong Answers Only. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you all for joining us. Please take your trash with you as you exit the theater and enjoy the ice cream.